The Teachable Dashboard is the first place you land when you log in and has a lot of information about your school. Over time, it will provide you with essential data on how your school is performing. Let's walk through key areas and discover what each section can show us. Okay, so we've jumped over to the actual dashboard here and let's have a look around. On the left hand side here, we've got the navigation, the menu area, but we're only going to concentrate on the dashboard up here. Over here on the right hand side of the page, the area is broken down into, I guess, about 4 areas. You've got the top part here, which is a static navigation area, which also has this notification. And you've got the left hand side here, which again, underneath the dashboard also has a notification, which you might not see in your school. It's got the graph, and then it's got the today and this month statistics as you scroll down the page. On the right hand side here, you've got the live feed, which shows what happens as it happens, essentially. And there's not a lot of information here because this is what your school would look like if you were just starting up. Although my school's been running since 2015, according to this data here, I don't make many sales. In fact, I don't make any sales because my school is just used for prototyping and whatnot. However, we're going to jump over to another school in a moment and you'll see an actual data from an actual school. The top navigation here, which is the static area that doesn't move when you scroll the mouse, has the notification for me that my plan will end at the end of November or in the middle of November. And on the right hand side, it's got View School and Create New Product. Now, if I click on View School, it's going to open up a new tab and it will actually show me my school. On the Create New Product, if you click the button, it will take you to a place where you can actually create a new product, which makes sense, of course. And then we've also got this little notification area, which has the speaker that and a sort of circular dot here. If that dot is red or has a number in it, it will show that you have a new notification for your latest changes. So you can actually, this is like their change log. You can see what they've been working on and what they've implemented. And you can actually click on this and it takes you to Teachable's blog post about that particular feature that they've just added. So the live feed on the right here just shows new enrollments in courses and signups to your school. It doesn't show anything else other than those 2 items. But if you've got a busy school, there will be a lot of live feed information over here on the right. The area underneath the graph, which is down here, shows the information of what you're making and what you're doing today, and also what you've been doing in the current month to date. So the graph here at the top, although I don't have any data or very little data, I do have a school since 2015. There should be some data here. If we click on the little drop down here, we get the option to select all time, last year, 6 months, etc. If we click on all time just to make sure, and then you can see the green bar at the top. Actually, there's a green bar that's scrolled right along the top there to pull in the data. You can see that there's a little bit of information here, but it's really not that informative in this particular school. Even if we click over to monthly, you see that I made a few sales back in at some point. And this is one of the negatives of this particular graph is I don't know what date this is. I can pick up here and I can see it's December, but December which month? Is that 2013? Is it 2000? But that doesn't make sense because it goes 13, 12, and 14. So it can't be 2013. This is June 14th, some particular year. And this really is the problem with this particular graph system, is that you can't actually tell what date we're talking about. And if we go to the latest month, for example, we have no data. We'll have to jump over to another school and have a look there and look at their data, and we can see whether or not we can figure out what date things are. We're over here in this other school now, and we can see that they've got a lot more information for us to look through. The revenue and earnings actually give us some data. It's relevant. We can click on the little drop down here and we can take the last 3 months, and we can see that we can sort daily, weekly, and monthly. And all that does is it takes the daily information and bundles it into a monthly figure. So if we've got 3 months here, we should only really have 3 data points. 1, 2, 3. I guess is the first data point. 1, 2, 3. Weekly will, of course, split it up into 4 weekly or 5 weekly for the month, and then give us the data points for that. And then, of course, daily shows the ups and downs on a daily basis. And this is earnings. We also have the revenue, and then we have course sales, new signups, etc. It's unlikely you are ever going to really look at course completions or lessons completions, but I guess you could in some respects and see whether there's a massive uptake in the number of people that are completing lessons. If we go over to the actual revenue, and we can actually go into the drop down and say all time. Once it loads in, we're going to change it over to monthly, and you'll actually you can see it here. This is actually really interesting, but let's just jump over to monthly and have a look at it again. You can see that they've got an annual peak and trough, and that's because that this particular school actually sells courses for high school students to help them pass their summer exams. So you can understand that off peak, in a sense, they don't have as many sales because people will cancel the subscription or move on to the next year or go to university, whatever it is that they do. And then as the school year starts to ramp up, more people will invest in their education, and that's why their sales go up and their revenue goes up. So it's quite interesting from that aspect that you can kind of see these trends, and it may be something at some point in the future that you can see, and you can sit back and analyze and say, why are we losing money there? Maybe we did a big ad campaign and that's why we've suddenly got a big peak here, and you can keep track of it from that perspective. So also clicking on the new signups, you could, of course, just get into the number of students that you have and forget about the whole concept of money, which I don't think anybody really would. But if you wanted to just look at signups purely, then you could just click on signups and have a look and see that you've got peak number signups back here at whatever the date this was. As again, we talked about this a few minutes ago, that I don't know what date this is. All I know that it's February 12th, or I know it's April some year. Because it's 2015 to 2025, I don't know what date this is. So they really had two peaks here, but I don't know when it was. And without actually extracting the data or downloading the data, which you can do with Teachable, there's not really much you can do with this particular graph, unfortunately. Up till now, we've been using the fixed dates that are available in the dropdown, and we've been using all time, and I think we used 3 months. But if we wanted to get the last 3 weeks or so from in March, which is the 24th today, we can select the actual date time box itself, and we can select the 1st of March. Actually, we have to select the 1st of March over here, 1st of March until the 24th of March. And although the 24th of March is today, there's not going to be a lot of data that's going to pull in. It'll pull in whatever's available. And in order to actually confirm it, we have to select off of the graph, and then it should go off and pull in the data. Because we're set to monthly, there may not be any graph that you can see, although you can see that there's a revenue of 43, even though it's kind of hidden. And that would sort of match up with the revenue that we have down here for March. If we go over to weekly, it should refresh the graph and show us the last 3 weeks of data. Again, that's today. This is the last 3 weeks. Probably the 4th. This is March 3rd. This is March 10th to the 16th. So this is a bit more information because we got the date from to in the sort of pop-up that we get there. Again, it doesn't show the year, but because we've selected 2025, we can we know it's 2025, so that makes a lot of sense. The daily might be a bit more information because we've got such a granular selection of date time that the daily would be the best way to view this data. The only other thing that we can really look at, which wasn't really apparent from my school over here, as we scroll down, is this dashboard area at the bottom here, which shows today and the current month. And again, it just shows information for your school and the trend based on today and yesterday, which gives you a little bit of information, and this month to last month. And then, of course, you can also click on the abandoned cart emails, which takes you to a different location, which we'll talk about another time. But there's not a lot of information you can get here except a quick glance overview of how you did this current month and how things are compared to last month, generally speaking. If you wanted a bit more detail and the ability to manipulate your data, you would have to go over to your sales, export to CSV, import it to Google Sheets or Excel, and then you could do whatever you needed to do with it. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. If you want more videos on Teachable, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.